All right. I think we should be live on YouTube at this point, or very quickly. I There's a lot of absolute insanity going on today in the comics world, and fortunately, um, I was able to bring on an actual comic pro, Ethan Van. How am I? How it's Sciver, right? Am I saying
That's
that right? I hear a lot of people saying Scriver, and I'm like, no, there's no R in there.
well, Jordan Peterson did that. I illustrated his book, and the first edition he'd misspelled my name, Scriver. So I think I'm stuck. Jordan Peterson says I'm Van Scriver. I think he's right. I told my wife we're just going to change our last name.
That seems probably like your only real option. I don't know what else. I mean, if Jordan Peterson decrees it, then it is fact.
If
Um,
he said your name was Joshua, is your name Joshua or is it Jeremy?
well, I feel like he has the pull to it's just Josh. Then it's just what
Yeah,
it is going forward.
yeah.
Um, so just full disclosure, so people know, you and I are friendly online, but we don't have any professional relationship or anything like that. But you're one of the more vocal comic pros who, in my opinion, seem to be more reasonable. Um, and we were talking in the DMs about a lot of the crazy stuff going on today. And so I asked if you would come on, and you agreed. So thank you for that.
Well, I want to come on your channel. I wanted to come on for a while. I mean, I'm not a Magic the Gathering fan, but I wanted to bring you on to talk to my subs about the
Mhm.
game. I think there's a lot of crossover between comics and Magic.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think I actually really enjoy. By the way, everyone, Ethan has his own YouTube channel. It's called Comic Artist Pro Secrets. One of the worst names ever, in my opinion.
Hey, Zach said it was good. He liked it. He's like,
Well,
it's a great.
I mean, it is kind of good. But I'm really getting into your brutally honest portfolio review series. I like to see the mean Ethan versus the nice Uncle Ethan that maybe people would say. So I like that. So if you guys are watching this live, or you're watching it on the rebroadcast later, definitely check out his channel. It's criminally undersubscribed. He grinds, so check it out. Uh, where I wanted to start today was, what's up, Schwanz Gruberman? So yesterday, you and I talked, or I think we did. I can't remember if we did, but I actually did a video on. Um, I actually have a theory, by the way, that some of these people in the industry that seem to seem to have a propensity to controversy, or say more maybe inflammatory things. I'm wondering if, what do you think about this? Actually, I don't know if it's super tinfoily, but it seems like curious timing to be attacking diversity in comics when you have a book coming out. It gets everyone. I actually really thought hard about not covering it because I wanted to back up your boy Zach, but at the same time, like, I feel like I'm giving her exactly what she wants. I'm giving her exposure, and then people who hate him will rally behind her and buy her book. What do you think about that?
Um, Gee, I never thought of it that way. Honestly, I never made the connection, but it certainly has worked. I think. I mean, from what I'm seeing, sales are up. Um, I think you get outrage sales, don't you, when you piss
Yeah,
people off, or when you make people happy because you're attacking the common foe. Um,
yeah. I think it works both ways, and I think with the numbers, um, spite sales. I mean, a thousand sales coming in, solidarity sales would make a difference. I mean, I think.
yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely. I'm tempted to do stuff like that, but I don't want to split my audience that way. I don't understand why people do that necessarily, unless you're sure that your share of the whole audience, just on the merit of your work and the interest in your work, is going to be so small that if you can just attract the radical, angry people to buy out of spite, you do better. In which case, that's just sound business. That just makes sense to attack Zach.
Yeah, I think that, in my opinion, that this is her strategy, and it's like when somebody makes a crazy anti-Trump comic, like they know going in, it's meant to divide, and I guess like I view it the same way you do. I try to stay kind of down the middle. I try to not be too extreme on either end. And to be honest, you know, you kind of have a foot in both pool with the YouTube channel, but I mean, you still, I mean, you're comic pro. That's what you do, and it's just
personal feelings. But I mean, my main politics. I'm a capitalist. I want to sell comic books to everyone, And it's been said before by other bigger YouTubers that basically Crest toothpaste doesn't care if you're a criminal and you're in jail. They want you to use their toothpaste. And that's kind of how we should look at comics. I want everyone to read my comics. Everyone. I don't care what your politics are.
yeah.
So,
that's how I agree with you. Yeah.
I'm not deliberately out to just say, hey, my comic books are for people who think exactly the way I do, because then it'd be kind of cutting myself off at the knees. My comics are not political. I'm just an artist anyway. I'm not writing yet.
Yeah.
But my comics, nevertheless, I don't think if you just read them, I don't think you'd be able to get who I am as a person. I think you would just think, whoa, those are good, hopefully.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of we saw this with a lot of this like all this crazy, insane, my words, not yours. I'm trying to protect you because I know that even, I know how fickle that industry you live in can be. But like there's a lot of racial advertising for Black Panther. And I just kind of sat back and laughed because I'm like, yeah, it was written by two old Jewish guys. Like, that's how it should be. Like they wrote something that people identified with, I guess. But their personal politics clearly weren't in there. Although I can't say I know them personally. But I should take this second to say that the Move the Needle campaign is in full swing. I finally completed the Mr. Miracle. I got current on Mr. Miracle today. I have to buy from online, which I really hate, but I only have a small shop by me, and I'm just gonna be honest, like the amount of free time I have is so limited that if I go there, every time I go there, they don't have it or they don't have everything I need. So I get behind and they won't have back issues of stuff. So I just have to do that. But what are you working on anything right now? By the way, I actually really love those loot, it's like loot box videos that you do where you have like all the stuff. I want that. You have anything coming out right now or anything that's on the shelves?
The Green Lantern Corps number 38 is out right now. I think that's the newest issue of the book, and that's by me. I'm working on issue 42 right now. I'm a Green Lantern artist. I mean, that's kind of what I do. So look at the Green Lantern books. I would recommend going back and getting Flash Rebirth, getting Green Lantern Rebirth. If you want to get a good look at my work, or the Sinestro Corps War. I created the emotional spectrum and all the symbols involved. Those are my designs, my characters: Atrocitus, Larfleeze, Saint Walker, Indigo One. So that's basically who I am, and that's what I've done. But who knows? I mean, who knows what the future holds? As things become more and more political, it's tempting to want to have a voice, have more of a voice. And that's a constant struggle for me, Jeremy. I mean, it's something that you enjoy, but you've paid for it, haven't you?
Yeah, there's a price. There's a real price to it, and I don't even work in an industry where, you'll get blackballed if you disagree, even a little bit with certain things. It's scary, man. I don't envy the field you work in at all.
Well, you should envy it. It's awesome. I don't want, I mean, this is the thing. Work in comics because it is the greatest job in the world. I love waking up every morning and drawing superheroes. I get ideas that come to me in my sleep. I mean, it's just, I don't know what happens, but I feel like just walking down the street, I just have these gigantic horror superhero ideas occur to me, and I have to get them out on paper. And I think it's served me really well during the last 10 years. But I've got more of that stuff coming, so much so that it's just like I want to spill it out onto my YouTube channel as well. I'm doing this thing next week that's called it's going to be a live art demo, which is, I mean, never happened before. Like telling a story with drawings while you're drawing them live, and it's called Cursed. And
Oh
it's going to
yeah,
be
I saw the trailer for that. That's gonna be awesome.
okay. I mean, I'm going to try to revolutionize my channel. I know you like the brutal portfolio reviews. You like it
Mhm.
when I'm kind of who's that guy from the Hell's Kitchen?
Oh,
Uh,
Ramsey.
Yeah, Gordon Ramsay people's portfolios, but
Yeah.
this is going to be interesting. I'm a storyteller, and I get these ideas that just I'm not even sure how they would work in comics. So let me present them to my YouTube subs live and just show them the process of drawing while telling a story. I mean, that's who I am. That's what's really important to me. The politics are definitely secondary, but there comes a time when it's like everyone else feels free to speak up, and it's like I want to speak up as well, especially when I disagree. Um,
Yeah. I would never you're in a tight, if you ever want to disagree, man, I don't know. That's probably a good segue into, I mean, just look at what happened to Malin.
uh-huh.
Um,
Well, he was on my channel that night. I mean, that was a
yeah, yeah.
big controversy right there. Like I was in bed and I got texted by a bunch of people who were just like, "Yo, get on Twitter." This guy John Malin. I didn't know John Malin. I didn't know
Yeah.
him. But they're like, "Yo, if you can help in any way," and people see me as, the kind of the most outspoken, not the most outspoken, but maybe the most known, well-known kind of center right voice in comics.
Mhm.
Everybody wants me to be hard right, and I'm like, I'm kind of JFK conservative, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, sure.
Old school. But I went on there to just check him out. I was like, "Do you want to come on my channel and just like talk it through, like what you said?" And basically, what he said was, somebody said that the X-Men were social justice warriors, and he said, "No, more like, Hitler and the Nazis were social justice warriors," and
He was
et
right.
cetera.
He was right, by the way, in my opinion. You know, his
It was a controversial statement that everybody was buzzing over. And I mean, these days you can say one thing and say it badly or not say precisely what you mean, or even if it's what you mean. And I feel like it's your job. It's going to cost you your job and your livelihood. So I wanted to put him on my channel and see if he wanted to clarify. And, John, it's like, are you want to restate anything? Do
Mhm.
you want to apologize, or do you want to say that you meant something different? John did not want to apologize. John did not
No.
want to do differently. John wanted to double, triple, quadruple down. And I did it right here. I was in my basement and I just sat back in my chair, like, go ahead, say what you want to say. And he did. I mean, he just used, I think, like an hour where he just ranted about his experiences, his feelings, what he thinks is going wrong with this industry. And quite a few things are going wrong with this industry, I'm afraid. And yeah, and I think he did it like it was the feeling I got about it was like the last words of a dying man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm going to the gallows. I know it, and now I'm going to say "f you" to everyone who ever wronged me, and I'm going to tell you what all these people, they're hypocrites. That was kind of like his thing, and it was cathartic for him. So I just kind of, disagreed with him a lot of times, frankly, but let him go, which is what I believe in doing on my channel. It's like I bring divergent people onto my channel in comics and just let them talk. I leave it up to the people who are watching, who are listening, to decide how they feel about so and so. But the effort has always been to humanize people who we may not agree with. I think in this day and age, Jeremy, people tend to demonize people with opposing views rather than just to see them as, hey, this is a fellow American. This is someone who I might see in the grocery store, who I might, kind of put jumper cables on their car if they needed it, or they might do it for me. I mean, we used to be like that. And now it's not like that. We all know what everyone's thinking because of social media. We all know what our beliefs are. And it's like now it's like I see someone and I know what they said about, Sean
Yeah.
Hannity something, and I'm like, I'm gonna go on the other side of the street when I see this person comment. And that's the world social media is building for us, and it's bound to affect comics. It's bound to affect, WotC. It's bound to affect everything that we live in. I don't know if it's the world we want or not.
Yeah, no, it's not. Of course it's not. No, I think social media has been entirely bad for humanity in general. There are benefits to it, but I think it's definitely a net negative, because it allows people to do just that, unperson them,
Yeah.
and we get hate mobs and we get all sorts of
Hate
things that,
bombs are real, dude. They are real and they suck. You've been
yeah,
on those. I have too. I mean, they absolutely suck. It's just like you go, oh, does everybody in the world hate me? And then you go, oh no, you flip off Twitter and you go outside. You're like, oh no, it's nice
yeah,
out.
yeah. That's always, I learned that. I think I went through my first attack 3 years ago, and it really took a toll on me. And I've been through like 2 or 3 after that. Now I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going on a local bar, and at
The world,
99% of people I interact with every day have never even heard of any of this shit. Like they don't care.
yeah, yeah.
Um, Mega Gear says, I feel like at the end of the day, you can't really state the problems with the comic industry without getting ostracized. There's probably some truth in that. Probably some truth. There's probably some truth in that. Reginald says, so interesting to see our hobbies intersect. I haven't been into comics for a while, but the same tactics SJWs used in comics make its way in everything. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities. I learned a lot about what was coming in Magic the Gathering based on where comics is now.
Hmm.
And I do think we're going to see um, a course correction. I think.
Well, that's got to happen though. That's not going to happen organically. There have to be people who step up to actually do that, and try to make a difference. And it's on all of us. I mean, at some point, the efforts that I made early on with my channel were to reach out and try to kind of draw people back in. But I mean, I think everyone's so cynical and distrustful of each other right now that and also there are people who just see that as an opportunity. It's like weakness. Like this
Mhm.
is another way that we can kind of infiltrate and destroy the other side. It's ugly. I mean, it's really, really ugly. And even if you have pure motives and you want to actually do something good and kind of be friendly, it's a good way to get kicked. I'm not keen about making that mistake again, frankly.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
that's what I mean. You've been working a long time in this industry, and it's. I feel like as somebody who's on the outside, not that I'm a hero or anything, but I do feel uniquely bound to try and have an opinion on some of these things because I can't. I mean, because it won't affect my job, because it won't cost me much. They come after my Patreon and it just comes back stronger. They come after my YouTube channel, it just comes back stronger. But in not like we can say just not even comics. There's a lot of industries where you get blackballed. That's it. And like, then what? Then you're like, okay, well, I've got a family to support. Is it worth it? I don't think it is. And I don't think it'd be cowardly to not say something. Um, but I don't know. I don't envy that position at all.
here's what it is, though. I mean, seriously, we're sword fighting on the end of the Titanic, and it's going.
Yeah.
It's like it's gone straight into the water, and
Yeah.
we're fighting each other with swords while it goes down. I mean, it's just like look, the industry isn't doing well. If you want to fight one last idealistic battle before we all drown, I mean, I suppose that we could do that. But to me, it just seems like maybe we better try to you know, man some lifeboats and see what we can do instead, to save this industry, to save what's left of the humanity and the creativity that's still alive in this industry. And there's so much. There's so much, and I, you know, 20 years ago, none of this was an issue. Absolutely none of it. I remember hearing fans say some weird things. The first time I ever experienced politics in comics, like in a real dark way, was hearing. I was at a convention, and somebody called one of the Image founders, just offhand. Like I was walking by with some nachos from the food court, and I heard someone say, "I don't want to go meet that guy. He's a Republican Nazi, fuck," you know.
Huh.
And I was like, "Whoa!" I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" Like, I mean, nobody would ever. I'd never heard anything like that before. It was very strange. Like, why would you care that this guy was a Republican? Why would you call him a Nazi? And then the F word. Like, I'm in dad mode, by the way. I've got a
Yeah,
2-year-old, so
no,
I
that's okay. That's
sense
okay.
versus.
Papa Ethan. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, but
When
you know,
when was this? Did you say? How many years
like
ago was this?
98 at like
Okay.
maybe a San Diego Comic Con. This happened. That was the first time I heard that, and I had no politics at that point. If you'd
Yeah.
asked me, I'd say, yes, I'm a Democrat. I don't know, Clinton, you know, but I really didn't know. It wasn't until after 9/11 that I kind of found myself and realized what I believed. But yeah, like that was the first time that I was just like, wow, like there this thought process kind of exists, at least in some small way. And then I've just watched it blossom and grow, all through the millennia. So
Well, yeah, I think that the word blossom is not correct. It should be like fester. Uh,
fester,
you
that's
know,
better.
it's
Nothing pretty. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like that stink flower that only blooms every once in a while, but the corpse flower or whatever it's
It's
called.
horrible. And look, it affects creativity. I mean, there are people who are far left wingers, who I would love to work with, but it's just there's a stigma attached to it, and it now there is like people know and they go, "You're gonna work with him?" Like,
Yeah.
that's a shame. I mean, that's a real shame, and I think most of the companies in comics are actually taking steps to combat that now, which is a good thing. But
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a good take, man. And the imagery of sword fighting on the sinking ship is definitely, I think, very fair. I
it's
think I was gonna say I think that like with Magic too, Magic is the same thing. I think we're like 2 years, 3 years behind comics. I think we're at a point right now where the that we're going to see a very strong decrease in sales and players. And like the thing I always say is I've always been in sales my whole life, and now I market for companies. And what I somebody taught, this is not my original thought, but when people absolutely love your stuff and totally agree with you, they will tell you. But
mhm.
when they start getting a product that they don't like, or they start to see ideology dripping in, or with Magic it's a card stock issue, and this sort of thing. In Magic we see a big really big push, like with Malin too. Like if the boobs are bigger than B cups, they're gone now. That's it. Like
Mhm.
there are no sexy women in Magic left at all. And the type of people that see that, like, okay, sure, I don't really care, but it's like you notice it. And then like when you're unhappy, most people just leave. They don't write a letter, they don't send an email, they
They
just
just,
leave.
I'm not enjoying this anymore, and
Right.
they stop frequenting it. But you really think about that. I mean, actually decreasing the cup size of the women is one thing, but then inserting your propaganda into, I mean, actually taking the step. Imagine the audacity of that. Imagine
Well,
the audacity. Imagine if we, and like infiltrated some beloved entertainment industry and then just started inserting like far right wing politics,
mhm.
into Tiny Toons or something like that on
Yeah.
Nickel. You know what I mean? Like someplace where it doesn't belong, and it's meant for everyone. But we had the nerve and the audacity and the sheer balls to do that, to try to ruin everyone's good time. with
Mhm.
propaganda. That's something that has to stop. That can't be permitted to happen. And I don't care if you have good intentions. It's not your place. This doesn't belong to you. I know it feels like it does, but these things don't belong to you. Magic the Gathering kind of belongs to the world now. It belongs to everyone. It doesn't belong to the individuals, unfortunately, who even created it anymore. It belongs to the people who play it, who have placed their trust in you to keep it consistent, to keep it
Mhm.
fair, and to keep it neutral.
That's how I feel. And it's the same with comics. Like, you take a character, it's like such a small thing, but as a fan, I feel like people do it just to stick it to me. Like, so like, okay, here's a very recent example, and again, there are plenty of examples, but this isn't. I'll pick a neutral comic, and again, Ethan's not endorsing my opinion here, but as a fan, you see stuff like, oh, they turned Kick-Ass from this like nerdy, skinny white kid to a black spec ops soldier. And it's just like, okay, well, it's not Kick-Ass anymore because Kick-Ass is like about this dork who like gets a suit on and fights crime. Now it's like a military person, and then they had to
Really kick ass. That's the whole thing. The whole point was this kid couldn't kick ass, but learned to. And now you got someone in there. The title is no longer ironic. This is someone
right.
who literally can kick ass.
Yeah, you're a powerful soldier, and then so they made her female, made her person of color, all fine things but why did you come in and fuck with Kick-Ass? Why didn't you just make a new comic? And a lot of this, I think, is
Annoy you.
from what's that?
Just to annoy you, essentially, or people
If
like you. Is that how you
if
feel?
no, well, I feel like people come in and when they have these strong urges to push diversity or push a political ideology, they lack the creativity to write a good story that stands on its own. So then they just change an existing character to do it. The healthy at all sizes GI Joes. I mean, like, I can't tell you there isn't one GI Joe fan that wants his real American hero to be fat. There's not one. Like, and like,
One, but he's gone now.
yeah. He's gone. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was and of course he came out of the woodwork to back that other crazy socialist person that wished Zach
Right.
had been blown up by an IED.
How cool that this is why I'm saying to people who are listening, don't worry about any of this. I mean, we're complaining right now, but if you're someone out there who is creatively minded and who is like your whole goal in life is to become a comic book artist, do not fear about any of this. Don't worry about it. Don't pay it any mind. Get into this industry, because if you have pure intentions like that, you get to be handed something like G.I. Joe. And I mean, I'm not a big G.I. Joe fan, but I would be if that were my job. Like, if you gave me that job, I'd watch every episode of the cartoons. I'd go out and buy some action figures. I'd watch, I wouldn't watch the movies. I'd skip them, the live
Good
action.
idea.
But I'd get into it and I'd just be like, man, I know all these guys now. I know them all. I know who they're meant to be. And as a creative person, it's not my job to cycle that through my heart and then put it right down on the paper and give it to the people who have loved it for like all of their lives, and give it to them the best way that I possibly can, the way they want it. Okay. It's like, that's the whole thing. These are cheeseburgers, essentially. I'm going to give you the best cheeseburger you ever ate, because that's what I'm here to do. So if my job is G.I. Joe, I was saying this the other day, another Hasbro property, Gem and the Holograms. Now, if that's your job, the show was for girls, I think. I don't, but if that was my job, I would do a kick-ass Gem and the Holograms. I'd watch the cartoons. I'd make sure I knew who the characters were. And even though the audience was small, like maybe 2,000 people, I would make sure that I got it right for those 2,000 people. My Little Pony, all these properties, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then the big daddies like X-Men and Batman and all these things. Working on any of these properties is a dream come true, and it really is a life well lived. I've been doing it for 25 years, and I wake up every morning, except for mornings when I'm being chased by SJWs, and I'm so happy that I get to do what I do. So happy. And absolutely no regrets. You know, I told my wife, I was like, she's like, are you gonna retire? I'm like, I'm gonna be like Gil Kane. I'm gonna die
Yeah,
with a pen in my hand, age 82, still working on a comic book, you know.
that'd be
That's
great.
my dream. And so if you are, I mean, we're gonna complain, me and Jeremy are gonna complain about some social conditions right now, that are going on in comics, which are peculiar. But I do believe they are going to come to an end, and I do believe the comics as an art form are going to survive all this. As a business, they're going to survive all this, and you, as a creative person, will thrive. Maybe not always financially, but you will thrive, like artistically and emotionally. You'll be happy in this industry. And I mean, god damn it, like if I could make that my life's mission to make sure that that was the case, I'd die a happy man. Put that on my tombstone. He helped save comics, for the
Yeah.
next generation. um, I'd be happy to do that. So that's a long kind of forward, a long way of just saying, don't get discouraged, don't lose heart. Things are weird right now, but it doesn't mean it has to discourage you in any way, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a very good message. It's very dad mode. The but
That's
the
I'm sorry.
no. I think it's true. Like the thing is when I talked about this in the other video, uh the it's very easy to go out and get Mr. Miracle or Green Lantern, and just enjoy it and not have to worry about, you know, a lot of times, look, I enjoy like the music category, like indie rock, independent, you know, and I go out of my way, and that area, really musicians in general, but in independent, like indie rock, it's far, everyone's super far left. Like one of my favorite bands, The National, was supposed to play at Hillary Clinton's victory party. So like I, I try to like not, I just don't look. I just don't even, I mean, I can generally separate the artist from the art, but if I'm going to be if I'm going to be sensitive about it, then I don't even look.
Dude, I'm a huge Depeche Mode fan. Okay.
Yeah.
And I heard V talking about them the other day. I was like, good for you, buddy. Love Depeche Mode. I've loved them since 1989. And their music has always been like about this kind of weird, creepy blend between like sex and religion. And their music is dark and cool. And then I waited for their new album. They put a new album out every 5 years. I mean, it's a
Mhm.
rare occurrence. So their new album was coming out, and I was psyched. I couldn't wait to get it. And I don't know what happened. Same thing happened to them that's been happening to everyone else. Suddenly, Martin Gore became Rachel Maddow, and
Yeah.
the entire album was nothing but like boring, dumb, like shallow left wing politics. I mean, like the worst, like not even interesting or insightful. Like the whole kind of swagger was gone, the arrogance, the sex, the like weird thing with religion that they used to do. And instead, it was just like trickle down economics doesn't work. You know, I like the worst thing. And I had front row tickets to go see them in New York City, and I sold them. And I just
Yeah.
went, this is how it feels. Like this is how it feels when like something that you love very very much betrays you. You didn't, I didn't need to know. And it's one thing, people say, can you separate the art from the artist? Yeah, definitely, but not when it is the art. You
Yeah.
know, is the art that it's impossible to separate it from the artist. It's, you know, you're
That's how it
forced to.
feels. You're right.
I mean,
It's how it feels when you love Thor and you have Thor posters all over your house and you've bought every Thor comic, and then now Thor's a woman. Like
ugh.
it's just like, why? Why couldn't you have just written a different, like there's just no reason for it. I mean, can anyone point to where they took an established IP, gender bent it, and it did better? Like
I took Rainbow Bright and made him into Rainbow Brute.
I saw, yeah,
Did you
yeah,
see that yet? That's I'm gonna
yeah.
do a Kickstarter for that. We're gonna do a big Rainbow Brute. I've got him beating up Grumpy Bear, like Grumpy Bear from the Care Bears. This is big ferocious monster. He's gonna meet the Cabbage Patch Kids, which are zombie clones that are planted in the ground, and fight
Yeah.
them. It's gonna be badass. If it works the other way around, it doesn't necessarily work male to
Yeah,
female.
yeah.
Definitely works female to male.
All right. Well, cool. We'll keep a look on that. I did see, yeah, I saw that going around on Twitter. That was funny. Oh, Captain Wrong Thing was in it. What did Ethan talk to Kurt about in the DMs? Well, I'm sure that's between them.
Talk about what's going on right now. I think
Yes.
that's what you as this chat today. So let's not let people down.
Yeah, so, no, it's okay. No, I think everyone's really enjoying it. Let me know, chat, if you're not enjoying seeing a purist fan of comics talk about his craft. I'll tell you what, that's why I like you, is because you like your job. Like you understand that. I mean, just in your little mini speech there about, like, there is a responsibility to the fans when you get something like G.I. Joe. You can't just come in there and shit on it. And that's what happens a lot of times.
For you, you might not be the best G.I. Joe artist in the world, and it might not be for you, and that's fine. You move over to something else. But you really have to just go at it going, okay, I'm trying to please the fans. And I might throw them a few curveballs. I had Mark Wade on, who's a big SJW too. But I had Wade on, and he gave some really good advice. He's like, when I get on a character, a new character, I ask myself, I make a little list of 5 of the worst things that could possibly happen to this character. And that's where I start. That's where I start my storytelling. Put him in the worst jeopardy, the worst situations ever. And take it from there. And I thought that was really profound and interesting. But I mean, you know, yeah, you gotta love what you do. You gotta love the fans, and you gotta hope the fans love you back. That's half of the.
Well, I think you can get on a book and not be the most talented. No, and that's totally forgivable. But when or like the right fit, even maybe you're good, but you're just not good at drawing guns or whatever.
Bond. I'd suck it. Like if I had to draw James Bond, I would suck out loud. And it's funny, I talked Dynamite Comics, Nick Baruch. I was like, "Well, if I came over here to work with you, what would you put me on?" And he was nice. He's put me on his biggest book. So he's like, "I'd put you on 007."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Big mistake. Like, I'd be terrible. Put me on Vampirella or something like that."
That would be fun to draw.
Yeah.
I can't get anything done. I keep getting only halfway done with the picture. So we are both friendly with your boy Zach over at Diversity Comics, and I did a video yesterday talking about just somebody saying something absurd, you know, wishing that he had blown up while serving his country in Iraq, and that sounds like hyperbole, but I've in fact softened what she said. And you know, it's obviously not something that's I don't know. It's just, she has free speech, fine. I've never been a fire this person because I said something I don't like, but I will say that if the company doesn't, like, the company could come out and say, we totally disagree with this statement, we support our troops, but our employees are entitled to free speech or something like that. And I would actually, I'd buy that. I mean, that's okay. I don't think people should like be attacking somebody to have them lose their job because they say something stupid on the internet.
I blame the company for that at all. Just the same way. I mean, I blame the person who did it. And you can't just go to the company and just say, hey, you need to take responsibility for this person who you're publishing, because we are all artists and we're a little bit wacky. Everybody in comics, it seems, are creative people. There's a little screw loose, some looser than others. And that's fun. So you have to make an accounting for that. I wouldn't blame the company. I wouldn't make the company responsible. But in cases like that, you do want to kind of make a careful decision when you're at the comic shop. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And so what ends up happening is Kurt Eichenwald, most people who hang out with me just know him as the tentacle porn guy. But, you know, he was allegedly trying to prove to his wife that tentacle porn existed.
He's got a lengthy explanation about that I'm just like, that's even worse. Like, I was just like, look, I like hentai.
Yeah, I'm into it. So what?
Yeah, big deal. I'm a little embarrassed. Like, you're not, so come on now. Some of you are.
There's a huge market for it, obviously, right? I mean, there's...
Yeah. Instead, there was this whole thing about, like, hey, I let my kids no, we're talking about porno with my kids and drag my wife into odd. Much worse.
Well, it was the embodiment of the methinks thou doth protest too much thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like a bad liar just keeps talking. And like they don't, you know, I mean, it was okay. Look, most people enjoy a little bit of porn here and there, obviously. I think if he would have just owned it, he would have got roasted for a day or two, and that would have been it. But instead, he doubled down with this insane story. Fast forward, this is actually about a year ago, I think. And he fast forward to yesterday, and I think it was either somebody was reaching out to me like, "Yo, you see what's going on with diversity in comics?" And I'm like, "What's new?" You know, SJWs are attacking him, and then I dug in, and turns out that Kurt Eichenwald had tweeted about him, and oddly in his defense about
I would even say I read his tweets and I thought they were admirably correct, and there's a moment where you just go, hey, someone kind of is entering the room and seeing things the way that I see them, but they're clowns running around and they're making me feel like I'm the only one who isn't a clown, and thus I'm the crazy one. And then someone enters the room and goes, "What's with all the clowns?" And you just feel vindicated.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, I was very happy to see, because we know that your boy Zach is a bit of a troll, but at the same time, like, he's not doing his critiques to be mean to people specifically. He's doing it to be funny, and his audience loves it. It's not. I never really see him firing the first salvo. I'm not saying he never has, but in my case, I usually see he's found a great niche of getting crazy people to act crazy, and it's great for business for him. He Kurt tweets it out. I go to bed. I shoot this video because I thought it would be a bit of a meme. A socialist, a trans person, socialist wishing somebody who I enjoy their content had blown up while serving their country. If you would have told me 5 years ago that people would talk like this, I would have called you a liar, but it is current year, and I've seen crazier stuff. We saw the stuff with the comic writer at Image who said something along the lines, if I had a button to make all the GOP people die, I'd press it and take a nap. I mean, people say this stuff, and I don't know. I don't know how somebody types that and sends it out, but they do. So then we see Ethan getting brought in a little bit of spice today. So Kurt got roasted. I think here's what happened. Kurt actually stuck up for DNC. Then he probably got roasted by his own followers, who turned against him simply for saying that wishing death upon a veteran is not something that's cool.
Or on anyone. I mean,
yeah.
but particular. I mean, that the graphic way that you put that little fantasy together makes it doubly abhorrent. It's like, I know he's a veteran, so I wish something happened to him, like his body was destroyed while he was overseas fighting for our freedom. Makes it extra specially cruel and ugly, and kind of like odd, like really like odd. Like, why would you? I don't know. Evil. I would actually say evil.
Uh-oh. Did I lose Ethan? Oh, there we go. Sorry, I had to
I lost you there for some reason.
Well, I refreshed my screen because my mic stopped working or something.
Oh, okay. Anyway, I said I think it was evil. I will actually go out and use the word evil, because I can't think of a better, I don't know, a better word to use for something like that.
Yeah, no, I think that sums it up in that, um, it's crazy. So then, uh, Kurt, so then I go to bed. I'm like, yeah, that's I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. Kurt's kind of a far left guy, defending. It seemed like a very weird thing to be uh, mentioning a honestly like a pretty small YouTuber. Like, why is Kurt, who has 500,000 Twitter followers, just randomly mentioning a comic pro who's relatively unknown and a YouTube channel that is relatively unknown outside of the world of comics? So I thought that was really weird. But then today things went crazy. Uh, I saw a video where I'm actually going to share my screen here. Hold on. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he sends DNC this insane email. Multiple paragraphs, calls him Richard. And I just want to share a little bit of this email with people in chat who might not know just how truly insane this comes off. Richard, imagine for a minute, while in Afghanistan, you saw a group of jihadists drowning children. That's the first sentence he writes. Imagine that you run in and typo, and rescue them, resulting in children being saved and the jihadists being captured. Then imagine some left-wing jerks change the story into you were drowning the children. Then imagine that a group of conservative jerks conclude that it's convenient story against you, and not only that you were drowning children, but that you went to jail for it. I mean, this is. I should, by the way, look at the subject line. Read, comma, respond, or I'm suing you.
That's the problem right there.
I would not respond to this.
No.
I think he did, but the one of the crazy things was, where is this part? He talks about, he hasn't really been tweeting a lot today. Where is this thing? Oh, before this, look who's there. That's a popular tweet. This Ethan guy. So he issues what, in my opinion, is a public threat. Please let Diversity Comics know to check his email. I defended him yesterday and still do. Calling for his death, the death of someone, is wrong. However, today I am perfectly happy to start wrecking him if he ignores what I wrote him. And what did he write him? That he wants to sue him.
Right.
What did I miss? How did this happen?
Well, I think Diversity in Comics put 2 videos out in between, overnight, and Kurt didn't like those videos.
Oh, I don't understand. I mean, if you would read this sort of things, like, so you're going to read this, you're going to correct the record with a new video that talks about how you were suckered in by the same left-wing garbage used against you, or I'm going to finally stop the lies by using you as the endpoint by suing you.
Right.
He would not win this lawsuit, in my opinion.
Well, I don't think so either, but it would be trouble. It would be annoying for a single dad who is just trying to take care of his kids by being a YouTuber. He's got another job too, but it would be annoying.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, as somebody who's been through this with litigation and stuff like that, even when I was totally in the right with Wizards of the Coast, it's just financially prohibitive to have even gone down that road.
Yeah, You need to find somebody who's going to do it pro bono, and somebody who believes in your cause. But it's a pain in the like this is a frivolous lawsuit. It's revenge. It's the feeling that I get is that Kurt has been plagued by these rumors, these allegations that he feels are completely unfounded. He feels like they've been hurting his life and, affecting his livelihood, all these things. And he wants to make a stand. And it's interesting that he wants to choose, Zach to make that stand.
Well, I mean, I think it's because, I think it's, you use the word interesting, but I'll use the word convenient, because he picks on somebody who he knows isn't. I really hope that Zach does not back down. He at one point sent, here's where, like, we got Eichenwald saying, dude, man up. I mean, are you kidding me? I hope that Zach knows how to use archive.is, because what we have here is basically a public threat.
Yeah.
And he's just getting, he's, by the way, he has sent out similarly inflammatory tweets. Kurt himself. I've seen screenshots.
Out. And people are pointing that out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering as I scrolled down, I'm like, I bet you there's one. Oh man, the tentacles will never stop following him. He's made a big mistake here, because he like betrayed his, oh, here we go. Yeah, here's screenshots. I think you need to be worry about the libel lawyer for yourself. Like when you insinuated just days ago, anyone with mental illness is going to murder children, which is factually incorrect. But like, this is a guy without a leg to stand on. And why is he fucking with comics? Why is he picking on just a lowly Sunny D factory worker?
I think he's a comics fan.
Yeah, he probably is.
I think he's pretending to be, but he is a comics fan.
So
and he's aware of this. He knows who Diversity in Comics is. He knows what Comicsgate is. He's pretending not to, but yeah.
Yeah, right. I get that feeling too.
He knew
what's that?
He knew who I was.
Yeah, right. He knew who you were. And he also knew that you're friendly with Zach, I'm sure. And I think, let me put a little conspiracy theory out there. If he does in fact enjoy comics, he'll probably watch this video. And I think maybe, hypothetically, maybe he let's say he likes comics, maybe he likes Zach. Maybe he liked him, and to have Zach kind of take the piss out of him a little bit, maybe it hurt his feelings. I don't know, obviously, but it certainly would give a little more credence to the what appears to be a very emotional reaction. Like, I like you, Ethan, but if you put out a video on me and were really mean to me, my reaction might be more emotional than.
Like, well, no, I don't think that it's even like, okay, I'll tell you this. The worst enemies I have are people who used to be fans, but I cut them off because they were nutty. Like, who used to really, really love, and I'm thinking of two people in particular who have really gone out of their way to get back at me, because they used to be so lovey-dovey towards me, to the point where I was like, I have to set up a boundary. I have to push you away because this is too weird for me. And once you do that, that kind of love turns to hate so fast.
Yeah, I totally get it.
Hate is love that's been thwarted. And that's really a true statement. Now, here's a guy who basically betrayed what I guess he thought was his base, because I guess his base, he feels, betrayed him with these rumors that I don't even want to speak them. They're despicable. I don't know the truth of it at all. I know he denies it, so that's fine. I would deny it too. Certainly, it's really disgusting. But he feels strongly about it, and he enough to kind of sell out his own base to make a kind of grab for the red pill,
Hmm.
and the red pill just said, "Nuh-uh, buddy, no."
We don't
And
want
that,
you.
oh, yeah, that's got to piss you off so bad. Here's
Yeah.
the thing is that I honestly think like I'm not gonna say it. Never mind.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna.
No, no. Yeah, don't get yourself in trouble. Uh, I'm gonna go to Zach's response here. Yeah, Melissa Morg. That was a creepy one for Zach.
Yeah.
Um, he responded.
By the way, we figured out who Melissa Morg was, and that was exactly what I was just talking about. That was love thwarted. That Melissa Morg turned out to be a man who was a fan and disagreed, and I don't know, fell away. Kind of was an apostate from, if there's such a thing in a fan club, and yeah, it became like our worst nightmare. Was stalking me, was stalking him, was crazy, absolutely crazy. His wife eventually came to me and said, "You've got to do something. Like, I've never met you, but I trust you. You got to help me. My husband has gone crazy, and like he's all he does is sit in the basement muttering. I am Melissa Morg's quote unquote wife, and he's ruining our lives, and I'm scared." And that was the
Whoa! I
yeah.
I didn't even know any of that.
Oh my god, I
It
gotta
wasn't
look.
even a kid. It wasn't even a kid. I thought for sure it was a kid.
No, he was a father of 3 girls or something like that. His wife was just like, at first it was just like light trolling, and we enjoyed it. We thought it was kind of fun. I joined in, I admit it, but then it became obsessive and it got weirder. And now, like, he's up at all hours. He never sleeps. He's just sitting there trolling, and he hired a voice actress off of one of these websites where you can hire creators to pretend to be Melissa Morg for videos that he was making. Like, he'd write a script and voice
Yeah.
actor be Melissa Morg, and was just got weirder and weirder with this idea that he was going to defame and destroy diversity in comics. So this isn't his first rodeo, to the point where this person took a photograph of a murder victim and claimed that the murder victim was Melissa Morg, who was murdered by a diversity in comics fan.
Jesus.
It got that's when it kind of all blew up. That was
Did that
listen.
person get any? I mean, did police knock on their door?
Um,
Not that you know of.
I
Not that you
remember
can say.
I remember promising the wife that I would I listen. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I remember telling her, look, I mean, I don't want anything bad to happen to you or your kids, so don't worry about that. Just tell them to stop.
Oh, she was worried about you guys uh coming after him or something.
More about her herself. She was like, I don't want my life, my kids' lives ruined over this. And
Mm.
like, we were going to call the cops. This was legit stalking. It was harassment. It was defamation per se. It was all of those things. And she really was thinking that it was going too far and it was getting momentum. And her husband wasn't someone who could be reached. And I eventually, like, he found out that she was talking to me and blocked me through her. And I was like, oh geez, I said, I don't know what's going on in that house. I'm worried about your life.
Yeah.
So this stuff can get scary. I mean, it can get kind of scary. Um,
Oh, I've had. Yeah, I understand. Like I mean, I've had people mail stuff to my house, and let's get a little. Maybe I hope this isn't a troll question, but somebody asked your opinion on Green Lantern Earth 1.
oh, I don't know. I haven't read it.
Oh, okay.
It's a real thing. He's an astronaut instead of a pilot, or something like that. I haven't read it though. Looks cool.
The I want to give people a chance to ask some questions. So if you guys want, just tag me in your question, and I'll look at it, because um that was a pretty crazy story. I didn't know that had all ended. I knew that people. I've had several of those people, and most of the time I don't talk about it out loud because that's what they want. They want you to. Um, and so there have been times in my life where I'll like engage in a little counter trolling, and that never works out for me. You know, it's just always like, and you just asking them to one up, you know, and like
I want these people to stop. I mean, frankly, it's just like, first of all, leave me alone. What I listen to, I've been attacked by my peers for the fact that I'm friends with Zach. He's my friend. I listen. I have friends that are lefty. I have friends that are righty. I don't
mm,
support everything they say or do. They're just my friends, and they don't have to align with my viewpoint. But I'm loyal to my friends. If you're my friend, you can count on my loyalty to you. I'll do everything I can to help you, and I won't betray you. It's just that's 25% Italian, so that's part.
yeah.
Um, so I've had people say that to me, and it's just like, what? How do you even know? Like, how do you know I'm friends with him? Like, what are you stalking my account? Like, and how dare you? Like, I will listen to, I will speak with, I will watch, I will read whatever I want, and so will all of these fans here, and you can't tell them not to. It's none of your business.
Isn't it
It's a whole
weird?
grand inquisition going on in comics where it's like, well, how dare you be a fan of this, watch this video, read this book, do this. It's none of your business. It's none of any of your businesses what these people do, say, believe, anything like that. Leave them alone, draw comics for them, and shh.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think that these people do have a bit of a purity test that they put their own friends in through. Like I put it, you know,
I don't
I'm
want
good.
trying to be anyone's friend. I'm not trying to socialize.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like, I have my friends. I'm not, I'm not looking to be part of the clique. I'm just doing my comics, and I'm with my family, and that's that. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that's it's I'm friends with people that, you know, are like hardcore Bernie Bros or Hillary like in real life when you have like for example something that gives you perspective like kids or a family, you just don't have time to obsess about that shit. But people that don't have anything else going on in their life seem to always be the ones that are obsessed. Do you mind if I fire a couple of questions at you from the crowd?
Sure.
And I don't want to keep you too long. I know you're an old man, so you let me know if we're.
How
I
old are
want to.
you?
What's that?
How old are you? You 35? What are you?
Yeah, yeah, 35.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
the
Okay.
Yeah, I look like shit for 35, but
But
the
that's what I asked. So I guess you don't look like shit. You look like you're 35.
yeah, right on point. I'm right on schedule. Um, I want to remind everyone that's in here too to check out Ethan's channel of Comic Artist Pro Secrets. He does some great stuff there, and that actually pertains to the. I'll link it in the description before this video goes live to the masses. But Captain Wrong Thing asked, off topic. I know Ethan is a Green Lantern guy, but I'd totally love to see him draw the Silver Surfer, my favorite superhero. Maybe he can do it on his channel sometime. What do you think about that?
It's a shiny naked dude on a surfboard. I'm sorry. Like, I honestly, I would do it. I would try it. I don't know. I was never into the surfer. I like Galactus a lot because there's a lot to do with Galactus. But if I were to draw the Silver Surfer, he would be this tall, flying around Galactus, who would take up the whole page. Like, that's
Yeah, yeah. He might like that though. You know, I might appreciate that. Then somebody said, "What inspired Ethan to get started in comics, and what age did it start for you?"
All right. So I started drawing comics when I was 19. I just sat down, and there was this Puerto Rican girl that I was kind of seeing her. I don't know. She had a boyfriend, but she came back from Puerto Rico. She brought me this porcelain frog from Puerto Rico. She said, "Yo, this is Robo Cookie," and I was like, "Okay." And we made out. Her boyfriend was in the car, which was weird. And like idling the car waiting for her to come back out, and that frog sat on my desk, and I created a character called Fascist Frog based on this thing. He ended up being called Cyber Frog. But yeah, like that was how I kind of got started. I just started drawing Cyber Frog pages, but I knew I wanted to do this when I was 12.
Ethan, Lady Killer Van Sciver. Next question.
Hell yeah.
What's EVS's opinion on the DC media censorship? I don't know what that pertains to. Do you know?
Oh, it's not censorship. It's just DC put out social media guidelines, which I think it's about time. Honestly.
Yeah. Oh, so they're trying to they're trying to stay off the stay.
You have a responsibility when you're working for DC Comics to not embarrass the company. And that's
Okay.
just, there you go. You're gone.
Oh, I'm gone.
Yeah, I just see a little green
Oh,
man.
there
There
I
you
am.
are.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I don't think that that's a problem either.
If you don't
Especially
like it, don't work for DC. I mean, you can be independent and say whatever you want to do. But if you're working on for DC Comics and you're drawing Superman, it's important that you put on your not Disney per se, but Disney in quotes face. Hey, I'm the artist of Superman. You
well,
know.
just have an anonymous Twitter account if you want to talk shit, right? I
Well,
mean,
I mean, this is the main thing that, I didn't understand because 2 years ago, I used to be a total political troll myself. Like, I knew I was the odd man out and I didn't care. I was going to promote, Ann Coulter and Donald Trump and all this stuff. That's just who I am. And then it was actually through Diversity in Comics where he did a video that I saw early on where he was just like, these people, you've got 75,000 social media followers. You think it's because of your personality or the interesting things you say? It's because you write or draw Spider-Man.
yep.
These people are there because of Spider-Man. They don't want to hear about your political views. And I went, it's so obvious. And I don't know why I never thought of that. Like the arrogance of thinking that like these people are here to listen to me go on about politics. And I got that lesson real hard. Like I heard that and I went like a blast of lightning. I got Jesus suddenly, and I went, all
Yeah.
right, I'm never gonna do that again.
I
And
remember that video, and I remember reacting the same way. I'm like, yes,
mhm,
I think it's easy to get like, I mean, that the blue check mark of death is. I feel like people they get that check mark sometimes, not you obviously, but like, and that's like what they are concerned with, and then there are a couple. I won't name names because I don't want to put you in a weird spot, but there are some people who have huge social media followings and almost no engagement because everything they tweet out is basically Trump derangement syndrome.
yeah,
Hundreds of thousands of followers because they draw a certain character, and all they tweet about is Trump all day.
can you imagine how annoying that? I was doing the same thing, but in reverse. And I realized that, and I'm like, no, what? My social media is meant for self promotion. So it's just meant to show artwork. It's meant to attract fans. It's meant to promote eBay auctions for art that I'm doing. That's what it's for. I mean, very rarely do I get confrontational in any way. I tweet out advice to artists. I tweet out happy memes.
Mhm.
I'm trying to attract fans, not repel fans, and that's I think the bottom line.
Lores asked, ask Ethan if it's difficult to work in an environment filled with SJWs. On one hand, he needs to check what he says constantly. On the other, he needs to be creative. And how does that mix?
Well, I don't.
You're kind of, you guys are kind of decentralized, right? I mean,
Yeah, I work out of my house. I mean, and the only way I see SJWs is if I go to conventions, and I rarely do convention appearances because I've got a 2-year-old at home. So that's been fine. I don't mind SJWs when we're just one on one. I started noticing like a certain poisonous thing happen about 5 years ago, where some really politically radical guys that I used to talk to about Plastic Man and Batman, would suddenly they knew I was a Republican and they would just look at me different. I'd say, "Hey, how you doing, John?" And John would look at me like, I don't know, like he wanted to talk to me about gun control. Like that
yeah.
was what was on his mind. You know what I mean? Like not, hey, I saw the book you did and it looked pretty good, or anything like that. Or how's your family? Gun control, Hillary, Bush, Trump. That's what's on their mind and behind their eyes when they look at you. I said, you've been poisoned. Like
Mhm.
you've been poisoned. Like you can't. You're toxic now. You can't just talk to another human being who you disagree with without that being at the forefront of your brain. And that's when you know yourself. And this is to everyone. If that's how you are when you interact with other human beings, you've been poisoned too. And I don't want to know if these people that I'm meeting are SJWs. They'll make that plain to me, the poisonous ones. If they're not poisoned, but they just hold left wing views, we don't. I don't need to know that. We just need to
Yeah.
talk about Catwoman.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think that's very fair. That's how I view it too. I don't care. You can believe what you want to believe. But I
What
extend that
having
same.
we have Magic the Gathering in common. So let's
Mm.
talk about Magic the Gathering. Why are we talking about Trump?
Right,
Why?
right.
We're just gonna
Um,
fight, change your mind. You're not gonna change mine.
right,
So
right. Yeah. What's the point? Life's short. Maybe one more question here. No one has, no one has asked a question, and I always hear and read people talking about, um, oh, the leftists and left that. Who's the leader of the left? Nobody, right? Yeah. Captain Wrong Thing says, I worked in the film industry for 15 years on huge movies and eventually had to quit because of the SCW infestation because you can't get away from it. It's sad to see it's happening in comics. Yeah, I agree with that. EVS, do you think other comic companies should follow suit with DC's example? The way of the that way the SCW Nazis can stop targeting fans and other comic book pros for
they have
harassment.
they have to. Everyone has to, and it's worked. Twitter's gotten real quiet. They've gotten real quiet since DC put those rules down, and people thought it was all aimed at me. And read it again. It's aimed at kind of protecting people like me too. I mean, I'll shush my mouth too if people shush theirs.
Well,
I think
it's like self-preservation. It's like they're saving the industry from itself, or trying to, at least.
you have to. We're trying to. The fans are, like you said, the fans just stop buying. They don't make an announcement. They don't want to argue about it. They just stop buying comics if they're not happy. We need them to buy comics.
Yeah, that would be nice, right?
Hashtag move the needle.
Yeah, go and by the way, just because there's always new people in here, and we're close to 300 people in here, I think, or 260, 270. And you have what out, so now everyone can see just how reasonable you are. And what I can say is Lantern is totally as accessible too. It's not like this, you can jump in, figure out what's going on. First of all, can you remind people what you're drawing right now? And then second of all, what would you recommend people check out? What do you like right now that's going on out there?
I love The Walking Dead. I love The Walking Dead. I love it. It's an inspiration to me because you're talking about a guy, Robert Kirkman, who, young man, went out there. He said, I have one little idea, and my idea is I love zombie movies and they end too quick. And I want to know what happens after the zombie movie ends. I want to know what happens to the world. And that's my idea. So I'm going to do this little black and white comic called Walking Dead. He got his friend to help draw it. Then he got a new artist after that. The original artist, Tony Moore, was so good. So good. And he just created this addictive series of an ongoing soap opera with zombies in it that became a TV show and I remember talking to him before he had the TV show, and he was just like, this is how to do it. I mean, you put out a black and white comic, you might not make money off of that right away. You put out 6 of them, you repackage it as a trade paperback, then it's all gravy. Then you keep going, you put out 3 trade paperbacks of 6 issues each, repackage it as a hardcover. Mm-hmm. All those 3 trade paperbacks, and then the money starts coming in. And he's like, I've been doing this and doing this and doing this. He's like, I make all my money off of reprints. And I was like, how old are you? And he's like 20 old. I was just like, you're awesome. Oh my God. So total genius. I love Walking Dead and I love Robert Kirkman. I draw a book called Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps.
Do you got one by you?
Yeah, I got a whole crate of them here. Oh, so here's one. This is the first issue of an arc called Fracture, and it's been collected in the trade paperback. It's Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps Volume 4 trade paperback. You can get it on Amazon. I drew most of it, like most of that trade paperback. It's a good flavor, a good taste of my artwork. People ask, like, are creators rewarded when you buy trade paperbacks? Yeah, like we probably get like $1, $1.50 in royalties. So buying that trade paperback is like giving me $1.
Yeah, the 263 people, only 33 likes. He won't show us some art. Okay, just showed you some art. So let's get at least to 200 likes then. Can you describe what a trade paperback is for people, because I'm not sure everyone knows.
It's just what I was talking about Robert Kirkman did. So a trade paperback basically will take a story arc. Like, here's the first issue of this story, and in this story, this is Sinestro's daughter, and Sinestro is dead ostensibly. So she's taken over the Sinestro Corps, and she's decided that she's going to lead it in a different way. And she's going to combine forces with the Green Lantern Corps, and together they're going to partner up, Fear and Will, and they're going to try to change the world. They're going to try to change the universe together as a team. And the story's called Fracture. So this is part 1. This is part 2, part 3, and then part 4 also. I don't have those books in front of me, but a trade paperback will collect those comic books all together into one story. So you didn't have to wait every month. You could just read the whole story now. It ends up being a little bit cheaper too. I think it's like $15 for 6 issues worth of story and art.
By the way, Dr. Mayhem, $10. Thank you, dude. I tried to buy that trade on Amazon and it never showed up. Amazon said it was damaged.
That sucks. Try again. Get your money back.
Oh, it never showed up at the house. I get what you mean. I thought they meant yeah, I would recommend checking it out because it's like a cool thing to have around. I'm just looking right now to see if it's what is it called? The
Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps Volume 4. The story's called Fracture. I think the whole trade is called Fracture. And it's the newest one. I think Volume 4 is the newest one that's available. There's 1 through 4. I've worked on all of them. So if you got 1 through 4, you'd be caught up with Green Lantern.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, or go to a comic. Yeah, supporting a comic book. Oh yeah, I see it. It is on Amazon. You know what? It's $13 right now. It's on sale, and you can get it Prime shipping. Get it Monday. So, yeah, check that out. It's for me, the trades are a good way. Like I mentioned today, I'm a bit of a completionist, like a lot of comic fans, and I like to have them all, but I also will get into a story a year or two after it's current, and the trades are just the best way to if you like to if you are a read comic person as opposed to a collector, the trades are great.
Yeah,
I could never. Oh, go ahead.
You get the digital copies as well. If you don't even want to wait, you can just go on, you know, what is it, Kindle or Comixology or any of these sites, and download all these books and read them right now.
Yeah, it's only $3 on Kindle if you wanted to. The crazy thing is, I actually got through the checkout because I think is Comixology owned by DC or Amazon or something? There's some weird connection between Amazon and Comixology.
I don't know. I've got that little book app, the little orange book app on my iPad. I click it, go to New York Times bestsellers, type in the name of the comic I want, and it comes up. So
yeah, there's something, and I was at the checkout. I have a question about digital comics, by the way, and then I'll let you off the hook because you've already given me so much time. But the in terms of your drawing, did you have to, first of all, I can't do digital. Even one, they charge the same price as the paperback, which is absurd. But 2, I gotta have it. But I get that lots of people I work with a huge comic collector, and he buys them all digitally now because he's just out of room. But did you? Oh, Amazon does own them. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because I was trying to check out, and at the last second, I noticed that I was buying digital, and they were $4 each. And I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute! I'll just buy. I gotta find." I found this Lone Star Comics, which I assume is in Texas, and you know they have a good website. Now it's kind of old and crusty, but it was really easy to figure out where I wanted, and so I bought them. Did you have to change anything with your art? Was there any new specs when they started kind of focusing on the digital side of things, or are they just scanning them in like high quality scans?
Scanning them in, it's really great, especially when you have an iPad to read comics on an iPad. I only buy Walking Dead digital because it comes out so frequently. They would just stack up like newspaper. So I just want to read the story. I don't want to necessarily collect the book, so I just download them digitally. And it really is. I mean, you just flick it with your finger, and the page turns, and you can blow up panels and everything, and look more closely. It's great. It's a good app. Yeah,
the Walking Dead was one that was highly recommended, or not necessarily recommended, but I want to actually look. There we go. That's looking better. 130 likes now. Get it up to 200. I think you can do it. Where's this? I did this video on the economics of ideology, and I wanted to pull up the description or the comment section real quick because I asked people to make some suggestions. And top comment, make comics great again. Where is this? I wanted to ask you about if you had read this. Oh, Mr. Miracle, Doomsday Clock, Batman White Knight. A lot of people said that was pretty good. Unfortunate name. Hey, Green Lantern Corps is on the list.
That's good.
Yeah, there was something else. Have you read that Dark Knight one?
Batman the White Knight.
Yeah. Sorry, Batman the White Knight.
Yeah. Sean's great. You would like him. He's a man's man. He's a good guy.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Wait, one more second here. Okay, so maybe that's what I was thinking of the Batman one. Oh yeah, Injustice, Super Sons, Dark Knight's Metal. I actually have a fair amount of fans that read comics.
I would think so.
Yeah,
but the same. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I want to give the about 250 people here. Thank you for hanging out tonight on short notice. Ethan has a great YouTube channel, Comic Artist Pro, and check out the trade magazine for the trade volume 4 for Green Lantern, and really anything by, I like to support good people too, and you're one of the good guys. I wanted to give chat one last second to squeeze some questions, and then I'll let them off the hook here. Are you okay for like fun?
Gave me the I don't know if I didn't mention this, but I should shout out Critical Blast had an award ceremony voted on by the fans. I am the #1 artist of 2017.
Yeah.
Got a nice trophy in the mail.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty great. I've got a little award reception video on my channel right now. It's great.
Oh, I'm gonna check that out. That's good. Are you okay for 5 more minutes if I just let people get a question in quick?
Yeah, sure.
Cat the Wrong Think, how would EVS have designed the movie Green Lantern if given a chance? Would it have looked like the Ryan Reynolds version?
The aliens looked great. Oa looked great. Sinestro wasn't right. He was too young and handsome. Sinestro should be an ugly, kind of wrinkly, kind of older guy. You could see the anger in his face. There's just lines on his face. Hal Jordan, I would have cast as Josh Holloway from Lost, who played Sawyer. I would have made him cut his hair and shave that beard. He's got that nice jaw. He's got that kind of mischievous look in his eye, and he looks like a grown-up. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, I like him as a comedian. He's not a superhero. He's good as Deadpool.
He's great as Deadpool.
So other than that, yeah.
Well, clearly you've thought about it. You had that one loaded up.
Times, yeah. I haven't even finished watching the movie. I got drunk and got 40 minutes into it and was like, "What the hell is this?" And turned it off.
The Green Lantern movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cartoon's great. The computer and CGI animated series contains like a lot of characters that I created, and it is awesome in every way.
Oh, okay. Well, there's another hot take. Did Ethan mean me when he said his worst fans are enemies? Grand Comics?
That's fun. Hey, Grand, how you doing? Get there. No, just kidding.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, in the future, you'll just be unpersoned. That's the only way. Well, Green Lantern animated series is baller. Yeah. Well, okay, the people agree. Well, Ethan, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, especially on short notice. Make sure everyone check out his channel. Any final words?
I love Unsleeved Media. I watch your channel seriously, like every day. Like you're one of the people who I've got the bell notified.
Oh yeah, nice.
So I watch your stuff while I'm working. Couldn't wait to come on the channel. Nice to kind of meet you finally face to face, and the pleasure was all mine. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks, Ethan. Everyone, go check out his channel, and you guys have a great rest of your Saturday night.